Thank you so much for being here. I'm a bit overwhelmed actually by all such amazing women we've got in the room, because today is a celebration of female entrepreneurship. And every one of us in this room have created an income for ourselves and our family, and whether we're just starting out, whether we're a micro business or an SME. And I don't think that 30 years ago there would have been quite so many women in the room. There's 1,100 businesses that are started every day in the UK, but only a third of those businesses are started by women. And last year, the Treasury commissioned the Alison Rose Review on female entrepreneurship, and the findings weren't good. At every stage of the business journey, UK women are less likely to pursue entrepreneurship than men. Men start businesses at twice the rate of women, and once started, men's businesses will on average be over twice the size of female businesses. And even worse, a man is 5 times as likely to start a business and grow it to £1 million as a woman. 5 times. And there was a recent report on high growth startups. In the East, only 9% of high growth businesses, or businesses that are over £1 million, are fully female founded. And only 25% of high growth businesses have at least one woman on the founding team. So why is this happening? Why aren't more women starting up and scaling up? I don't believe the problem is lack of ideas or entrepreneurial spirit. I think there's a really lot of persistent barriers that are stopping us. The societal ones, the business community ones, and actually, ladies, I think sometimes our own self-limiting beliefs on what it is that we can do. And I just want to make it clear from the outset, my talk today comes with no judgment. I haven't got any right to tell any woman to grow and scale their business. And in fact, it's not right for everyone, and it's not right for every business to grow. But today is about levelling the playing field and making the UK a place where female startups are just as likely to grow as their male counterparts. So how do we make a difference? How do we change these statistics? We've got to start by dreaming bigger and believing bigger. And let's focus on 3 things. What we can do as a community of female business owners, what the government can do to help us, and the individual decisions that we can make. I want to take you back to 12 years ago. I was stood on the doorstep of my family home. I had my mum with me. She'd come over from New Zealand to help. I had my 2 little boys, and we'd filled my car up with my cameras and all the essential things. And I was stood there, leaving my family home, walking out on the very successful wedding photography business my husband and I had, and walking out on a deeply, deeply unhappy marriage. We had 8 months of a hugely acrimonious divorce, and when it was finally settled, I just kind of went, okay, I'm going to move on. And I started a wedding photography business, figuring I need about 25 weddings a year to support me and my boys. But didn't go quite according to plan, because 18 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, and in fact lived for 3 months with suspected lung secondaries. It was 10 months of treatment, which included 3 operations, 7 rounds of chemotherapy, and 25 rounds of radiotherapy. My children were 8 years old, and my family were all in New Zealand. I cannot tell you how difficult it was, and amongst all that, as a sole trader, I had to keep working. I had to keep photographing weddings, or else I would have lost everything. I remember on the day of my last chemotherapy, I had to get out of bed and pull my wig on and go out, and this wedding was 10 hours long, and I was on my feet for 10 hours. As you can imagine, it was a hugely physically demanding day, but also it was a really emotionally demanding day, and I just had to sit back and reevaluate and say, you know, what am I doing? Something has to change. And then I actually believe that was the day that I really started dreaming bigger and knowing that I had to make a change, and I had to create a business and not just a job. Because actually my wedding photography business wasn't a business, it was a job. Because if I couldn't work, no money was coming in and the business would go under. So I had my light bulb moment. Amongst the weddings, I had a couple of dance schools that I photographed every year at their show. And not only were they were pretty lucrative, but they were something that was every year, they were a repeat custom and something that I could scale up. And actually, scaling wasn't a word that I used. It was much more simple than that. I just wanted a business where I could pay other people to go out and work on the weekends so I could spend time with my children. So I rebranded. It was all pink and swirly and girly, and it positioned Carmel Jane Photography as dance photography specialists. But importantly, I had that business that I could scale. And if I was ill and couldn't work, money would still come in. It wasn't easy. I worked far too long and far too hard without enough staff and without growing it properly. But you know what? I didn't really have anyone to turn to, no real business advice, no one who really knew what I was going through. I was in a few business networking groups, and honestly they were wonderful. They were kind and supportive, and I made some fantastic connections. But you know what, no one in the room said, this year I'm scaling up, employ and grow. No one said, oh, this year my target turnover is £1 million. I think it wasn't something that even anyone thought about, least of all me. And so over the past 10 years, I think I've made every mistake in the book, but thankfully, I've made more good decisions than bad decisions, and I have learned from all of those mistakes. I've overcome the barriers, especially around childcare, and I really think about around personal mindset, and somehow I've got through it. So October 2019, last year, was a hugely significant month for me. I am proud to say I won Employer of the Year at the Essex Business Awards, and really, really excited to get the award for Most Inspirational Businesswoman at the National Best Woman Awards. But amongst all that, I hit my target, and the business did turn over £1 million. So it was... It was deeply satisfying, and I've got to be honest, it was a little bit overwhelming as well. So I knew I wanted to do something with what I'd achieved, and I started looking around at the statistics. And when I discovered that a man is 5 times more likely to start and grow that business to £1 million than women, I knew that we had to do something. We want to change what was happening, and if women started and scaled at the same rate as men, we could add $250 billion to the UK economy, equivalent to 4 years' economic growth. And we all know that money and power go hand in hand, and we need to create a more fair and equitable society. So what are the changes we need to see government making? What can we do as a community of business owners? And what are the changes that we can make ourselves? Scaling is not right for everyone, but it does need to be easier for everyone. So today I want to look at 3 things that we can come together and do as a community. We can start lobbying government to ease the burden of childcare for female entrepreneurs. Now, I know there's women in this room, some have still got the little ones, and if you've tried being a mum and running a business, how incredibly difficult it is. And it probably won't surprise many of you to know that women do 60 to 70% of the undervalued and unpaid childcare in the UK. A woman is twice as likely to cite family responsibilities as a barrier to starting a business. And once the women do start businesses, 48% of female entrepreneurs with children say that care responsibilities are limiting their ability to grow their businesses. So let's lobby government for 2 key changes. Imagine if childcare was tax deductible. Now, any one of us could have a PA, and that would give us time freedom. But actually, we need childcare. We need good quality childcare to give us time freedom to grow as well. It would be easy. It could be tax deductible and make our businesses more profitable. The other policy change, currently you get 30 hours free childcare when your children are 3 years old. Why can't they start at 1 year old? It's not right for everyone, but if you're a working parent, you really need a bit more space and quality childcare to get more time freedom. Women do the vast majority of childcare, and they need childcare sooner to start and scale. Second thing I think we can do, and there's some incredible women in this room, is we need more visible role models and mentors. In the Rose Report, there's so many cultural barriers that affect women at every stage of the entrepreneurial journey. Women have higher risk awareness and are much more cautious about starting their businesses. Women actually don't believe they have the are much less likely to believe they've got the entrepreneurial skills to start and grow a business than men. And they're much less likely to even know another entrepreneur and know a role model who's achieved, and they need more mentors. I believe female business owners, we can be more proactive. Let's create a forum where we can pledge time to mentor other women, even if it's only a couple of hours and a cup of coffee, to tell them that they can do this. We need to share our real life advice and encouragement. There are women in this room that are in the £1 Million Club or very close to it, and I'm sure that they would love to share some of their advice and tips on how they made it. Third thing I think we can do is let's make high quality support accessible to all female entrepreneurs online. As a community of female business owners, let's share our knowledge and build our own digital community to deliver practical help tips and guides to overcome the barriers and grow, and really change from a tabletop business to £1 million business. A community of role models that show others what can be done. Ladies, we're starting a movement. Let's be a disruptive force for change. A UK where half of all £1 million businesses were started and led by women would be a better, stronger and more profitable country. Together we are stronger. Let's shout from the rooftops. Dream bigger, believe bigger and make a difference. Thank you all for being here, and I'm actually, should have had that glass of Prosecco, never mind. Thank you so much for being here, and I haven't got all the answers, but I say the journey that I've been through, and when I found out, I know that there was a few gasps in the audience when we found out the statistics around female entrepreneurship. So we really want to make a positive change, and if anyone's one of those ones who wants to doubt the statistics, the Rose Report, it's online, download it, it's got all that information there. So today we're launching the Tabletop to £1 million campaign. It's a community of female business owners, and I invite every one of you to be a part of it. So there's 4 little things you can do today that we're going to really just start this campaign. And we have the confession box here. So I need you to write nice and clear. We've got some nice cards and some Sharpies, and write what held you back. Let's make a confession about how we truly feel about growing our businesses, and we're going to help share that. So that's a fun thing to do. Second thing you can do is register your interest in mentorship. We did have 2 little pots. If you would like to even just have a coffee with someone and just give them some ideas and share how difficult it is in your story, we do have, give us a wave, India, a 17-year-old who's starting out doing her own eyelash salon in her home, right through to people who have scaled and sold their businesses for £1 million. There's an incredible woman in the room. So just share if you would like help or you'd like to help someone else. Number 3, there is a really woeful lack of data around female entrepreneurship, especially statistics specifically for Essex. You will be getting a little email out with a short survey. If you can fill that in and send it back would be wonderful. And the 4th thing you can do today is maybe take a photo and share it on social media. And when we do put things out, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Share and scale, because this is the start of a really fantastic movement. We need you involved, whatever stage you are, and we can build a powerful community. So, that's it. Thank you so much for being here.